Why be easy when you can just die?
Woo! Well, I'm Chewy Mew, welcome to my channel, but more specifically, welcome to another Chewy Mew video, where today, we're going to be taking a look at a Spider-Man figure from the collection, and it is sort of, kind of technically, my first Spider-Man figure ever right here. It is, but it also isn't. And also, you may notice, but you also might not. If you don't, that's kind of bad, but it's also kind of good, that I'm using a different camera on my phone. So the phones have two cameras on the back. A camera app that I'm using, it allows you to switch between the two cameras. And the other one allows me to focus the camera on it. This one doesn't, but I feel like it also makes web lines, like, for example, Sinister Six Spider-Man. It makes his web lines a lot more noticeable, and his colors are more vibrant. Like on this one, you can actually see the webs on his body. Whereas on the other camera lens, it looks like he's missing webs. Magnetic Spider-Man right here. But regardless, let's take a look at this guy. So this is a this guy in my first Spider-Man figure ever. These two are kind of the same figure. Hands have magnets on them, whereas this guy, his hands don't have magnets. So that's like pretty much the only difference. So he has less articulation because, you know, he doesn't have the flippy fingers. And you can't stand them up on a regular display base, but you can stick them on like a piece of metal if you have here, like on top of like a can or something, or like you have a piece of metal you can hang them from something. And I just, for now, for the sake of this review, I just stuck him to this ruler here, so he can fit. Also, this doubles as a measuring stick, and it only goes to 6 inches, and this guy is just about 6 inches. I think that's also 15 centimeters. I think this is 15 centimeters. I'm pretty sure it is. I think, or 16. Well, either way, if you really want to know, you can convert it, or I'll put it on the screen. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But either way, let's take a look at this guy. So here is the head sculpt on this guy. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, the camera doesn't focus on this guy, does it? Yeah, it doesn't focus. What if I zoom in? Look at that! That looks really bad, doesn't it? We can, yeah, we can... That looks bad. Let's give it a try, though. Yeah, you can see the face sculpt here. It gets very noisy looking. What if we turn it back a little bit like that? But yeah, the head sculpt looks pretty cool. You can see the big white eyes. Kind of like a little bit like... I don't know. To me, it looks a little bit like the, like a mix between... I don't know. Has like the kind of McFarlane-esque kind of curve on it. But also, I don't know. I think the eye just looks... I think they just look really cool. You have the black... You have the sculpted in web lines that are also painted in black. Spider logo. I did get this one in a mystery box, so it was used. That mystery box was kind of the worst, but also kind of good because I got this guy, and so the paint has some rub on it. That's not from me. It's just from whoever had it. I guess played with it a bit. There's a nice big Spider logo there. If you bend the body back, you can see the Spider logo continues through it like this. Let's put it like this. You can see the Spider logo there. Looks pretty cool. The web sculpting here is kind of missing as well. The butt there as well. Just overall, generally, pretty much the only sculpting it has on this figure is his head and his boots. The boots are also sculpted on with the webbing. Bottom of his foot, this one says Made in China, and this one here says 2002 Marvel Entertainment ToyBiz Worldwide 2002. And so, there are a couple joints that I'm pretty sure these were actually painted on. Like, you can see this joint is painted, or the pins on the joints. Yeah, the paint is kind of chipping off here. It was actually painted in red, which also, I don't know why, you know, for these they used gray pins. I mean, you know, that's kind of fine. I think it's cool. I think it's better to have, like, gray pins on the red than have, like, red pins on the dark bluish black kind of color. Because to me, that makes it look a little bit weird. And I don't know why for these parts they didn't just use red pins. You know, so, or use, like, get red pins here, too. That way they don't have to paint it, which, yeah, it's kind of fine. Also, he's this pretty nice, I was gonna say green. This nice, kind of darkish blue color. It's kind of hard to explain what color this is. It's like, it's not quite black, but it's not quite gray. It's kind of like it's sort of, it's not like, it's green, or, I keep saying green. It's like a grayish blue kind of color. In the camera, it looks very, very accurate to how it looks in real life. It does look like it's very glossy. The whole figure is pretty glossy. But I just think the color looks, I think it looks really good. It's like it's not metallic, it's just very glossy and like a dark bluish with like a hint of black and gray in there, kind of. I think it looks pretty cool. Tiny Spider logo there. I just wish this had, I just wish the paint on this, or the paint wear was perfect on this. so I can have like an example of this is what it looks like when you played with this figure for like over 20 years. I've had this figure for 20 years. You know, this is like a 20-year-old battle damaged Spider-Man toy, and this is like would be a like, you know, like new condition. It does have some paint wear here and there, but overall it's still good condition compared to this guy. You can even see the two color differences. I mean, right now the color differences they don't look too bad. Well, if you look at the arm, you can see the drastic color. His looks like orange, his is red. So the camera makes things look, you know, a lot, or not the camera, like you could see what I'm talking about here, how it's so much of the red is just gone. And that means, that also shows you that ToyBiz painted these arms like crazy, because this is the color of the plastic, it seems. Like this kind of orange, this was the color red that they got. So it looks like, same thing on the head here. So it looks like they painted on, like, I guess, orangey red kind of plastic until they got this color. And I think the original color looks nice. It's also been, I don't even have any memories of what this guy looked like before he had suffered this damage. You know, I got him when I was 2, so I don't really remember, I don't remember much of the stuff playing with him until like I was maybe like 4 years old, maybe. Because as a 2-year-old, I don't really remember playing with him. I do remember it being on my birthday cake and blowing out the candles, but that's about it. But yeah, I think the paint apps on this guy, I think the color is pretty cool. I already showed the bottom of the feet. And the magnets, like I have this ruler, between these two things, they're about the same weight. So you can see he holds the weight of the magnet pretty good. The magnet holds his weight pretty good. It's the magnets on this guy they're very good. I just wish I wish that the version that I would have gotten, the mystery box, was the one that had the magnets on his hands. Now, you know, I probably could switch the hands on these two guys and put his magnet hands on him, but he's missing all of the fingers here, and then also I don't want to risk breaking this, because this guy, he probably would break, but also he held up really good. But if I were to do this, I'd probably break the pin, and I'd rather keep this guy from taking damage. You can see he has like a broken arm elbow joint right there that my mom wired up for me. Probably maybe like 2007 or 8, maybe I want to say, maybe before. He basically has like drop-down hips now, which offer, you know, crazy kicks. Compared to this one kicking up like that, he has like crazy movement now. Because these are basically drop-down hips at this point, which it's not supposed to have. But overall, I think this figure is pretty good. Let's take a look at his articulation. Or actually, you know, let me show you. I'm sticking to more metal stuff here. So, I have this little, let me turn on the flash right here. So I have this little metal thing right here. He sticks onto it pretty good. My bed rail is also metal, and stick them on there. Stick them on my lamp. I actually have 2 magnets on my lamp right there. He can stick to the spring on my lamp. He can stick to these scissors. Oops. Don't want to hold those scissors. Yeah, he can hold the scissors. The scissors. We have Daredevil over here and Vulture. Yeah, he can, we have Black Cat and some Spider-Man 2 figures. Yeah, he can stick to things pretty good. He can stick them to a car. I remember as a kid when I played with this guy, well, not this one, the other one, the camera with the flashlight on, it looks a little bit, it looks pretty cool. It looks cool with the flashlight on still, but it looks better with regular lighting. I remember I would take the other guy, and when he had magnets on his feet, because this one, oops, he no longer has the magnets on his feet. These are custom magnets. I don't even know where I got these ones, but it's like this, and then I cut it up into squares, and then I super glued it to the bottom of his feet. That way he does have some kind of magnet sticking. It's not nearly as good as his. You can see if I stick them to it. Yeah, you see this foot, the heel just couldn't stick. The magnet couldn't stick on his heel there, but everything else sticks. But yeah, the magnets don't. He doesn't hold the thing as well as this guy does. This guy holds it pretty well. And yeah, if you were to, yeah, you know what I mean here. So these magnets, to the best of my knowledge, I think this entire piece is like one rectangular magnet in the foot. I think maybe. But either way, let's take a look at his articulation now. So the head looks up about that much, not really much. This is like default position for the head. That's up, and it doesn't really go down. You kind of can tilt it side to side, but not really though. He does a rotation here in the upper head, or in the upper neck, which are kind of just more like a tilt. Actually, not rotation. Rotation in the base of the neck here. You have bulge in a torso that is pretty good here. Tilt to side to side. This one specifically is kind of right there. Looks a little bit kind of, I don't know, the way the plastic is sculpted, it doesn't line up, you know, perfectly well. It's kind of at an angle, but you do get some decent forward movement, decent backwards movement. It's decent. The arms go up pretty much about all the way. This one goes a little higher than this one for some reason. Double joint in the elbow, rotation here in the wrist, a hinge in the wrist, and then you can do the thwipping hand. That's pretty cool. A waist swivel here. This waist swivel is a little bit loose. I actually had to tighten it up. The legs kick up all the way. He can actually go a little bit past the splits. This leg's a little bit too loose to stay up completely, but he can do the... Oh, no, there it goes. He can do the splits, rotation in the upper thigh. It's also the non-ball joint version, so people who don't like the ball joints, this one doesn't have the ball joints. Double bend in the knee, rotation here in the boot. The ankle goes forward and back. It doesn't have ankle pivots or anything, but this was also... I don't know if ToyBiz was... I mean, he kind of... I don't really think that's an ankle pivot. I think that's more just the way his gimmick is set up. It makes his ankles kind of rock back and forth a little bit, but I don't think it's an actual ankle pivot. So, yeah, that's about all for this guy. I think this figure is pretty cool. I'm really, really glad I got another one of these guys so I can have, so I can have... It's kind of like a progression kind of thing where this is the before and this is the after. This is before... 20 years of just abuse from a kid, and this is 20 years after, the abuse of a kid, which, for the record, I didn't, deliberately ruin, I didn't break it like this on purpose. I wasn't like, I'm gonna ruin this toy. It was just getting this as a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds are kind of dumb. They don't know how to treat things right, specifically toys. And so, playing with this over the years, also, joints get loose, too, when you just move them. Like, if you move a joint enough, like, even if the joints are tight like this, if you move this joint enough, eventually you will get a loose joint like this. From all the playing, his joints can move around in ways that they're not even supposed to. Like, yeah, pretty much drop down legs. Because they're supposed to be up like this, so they kick like that. But these ones drop down. You can do crazy movements. This joint here, some of the joints like the thigh rotation and the boot cut, and also the hinge on the wrist here, those ones I never really moved them too much because I never really cared too much about those joints. It kind of shows you how these aren't too important. Yeah, so this guy, I didn't deliberately damage this figure. It's just playing with this figure for, about like, I'd say about 18 years. Or no, yeah, like around, 18. Because 2002 until maybe 2018 is when I turned 18, I kind of lost the ability to play with toys, which I kind of wish I didn't. I kind of wish I still had the toy kid playing imagination aspect of, but unfortunately I don't. If I did, I probably wouldn't play with him anymore because he's kind of more like a, I don't want to risk damaging it anymore, so I kind of just have him here, just hung up here on my lamp like this, or sometimes I hang him from my bed, which, regardless, that's over this video. Overall, I think this figure is pretty good. I really like it. I do have some kind of emotional connection to this. Not this specifically, but this kind of design, I guess. But yeah, I think it's overall pretty good. I would recommend if you want like a simple posability. He has basically as much posability as the first Spider-Man figure. The only thing he's missing is that he doesn't have the toe articulation, but he does have magnets, which I feel like that kind of evens out. But yeah, I think this is a pretty cool one, especially he has like the sort of alternate costume version kind of colors, where he doesn't have the, the very classic blue and red. He has a more red with a little bit of I'm going to call it controversial blue, because it's not, just flat out, blue. And it's not black and it's not gray. It's like black, gray, and blue mixed. A little bit kind of like the Raimi Spider-Man figures, where this guy has this guy's blue. This one's much more like blue and light colored, but you can see how this one, well, actually in the camera you can tell this is much more blue compared to him. But between these two, this one is a little bit more blatant blue compared to him. But regardless, the colors, not your, exact blue, primary blue Spider-Man colors, but still think it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's all for this video. If you liked, be sure to let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video. I kind of don't want to do why, but, because this will be kind of cool, I'll go, this is risky, wow.